Hello everybody on the House623 YouTube channel. Welcome back. And I just wanted to let y'all know that I turned 21 the other day. And what I have been doing with my life is collecting SpongeBob mashems. So these are SpongeBob branded mashems. This is Series 2, I believe. I think Series 1 is the meme versions. So, I would go to Walmart, and what you can do at Walmart is they have these little eggs that would look like that. And the mashem would be inside, like this. So you don't know what kind of mashem you're going to get. So, the difficulty I experienced when trying to get all the mashems, which I will show in a minute, is which mashem am I going to get? So you have your different weight classes, you know, and you can also peek in a little bit and see a little bit of color, but they also put some film in there to disguise the color so you can't see. There are little holes so you can get a slight glimpse of some yellow sometimes. But what you want to do, first let me show off the collection. We'll get into how you can collect your own full collection in a minute. But let me start with the least rare, which would probably be Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is probably the most common one. When getting them randomly, you know, probably got a 40-30% chance of either getting like a Mr. Krabs or a Patrick. These two are everywhere. You can see they're kind of round in shape. They're very squishable. Krabs has this little eye flap. But SpongeBob, also somewhat common, but very big, square, also squishable, got a nose flap. Some of the more rare ones, not the rarest, but you got Sandy. She's also somewhat rare, very light, squishy, and like that. One of the best designed ones, in my opinion, also one of the rarer ones, but not the rarest, is Mrs. Puff, also squishy, very flat, but well detailed. Face, great mashem right there. That is an incredible mashem. Was very excited when I got my first Mrs. Puff. And the rarest, glow in the dark, hardest to get mystery character. Don't watch, spoiler if you don't know who the mystery character is yet. Just skip ahead. The mystery character is Gary, the Gary mashem. So that is. It was a day when we got this mashem. Wow. Wow. Continuing. So if you want to get your SpongeBob mashem collection to the point where mine is, where I have all of Series 2, here's some tips I can give. When you go to Walmart, you're going to have the mashem in here. They also have like a little plastic wrap and then like a white piece of paper surrounding it. And then they're closed in. So it'll be something like that. So it won't feel exactly like this. Won't feel exactly like this, but it'll be similar. And it'll be hard to look into because of the film. And so looking into there, you can get a little bit of a clue, but not a huge one. You can mostly tell when there's yellow. So when there's yellow, you're most likely dealing with SpongeBob, a Sandy, from that yellow there, which, by the way, Sandy is the ugliest mashem I've ever seen. Or a Mrs. Puff, because she's got some yellow around. But if you've got a yellow one, you can basically rule out no Patricks, no Garys, unless maybe the eyes are misleading you, and no Mr. Krabs. So, that's the first thing. You can kind of cut in half which ones you might have if you can see some yellow. But the real way to know what mashem you're going to get is by shaking it, you guys. By saying this weighs this much and this shakes this much. So let me start with how each of them shakes. Mr. Krabs is your smallest mashem. You see, he's tiny in comparison to something like SpongeBob. SpongeBob being your biggest mashem. So he's going to bounce a lot. And he's kind of lightweight, but not as lightweight as Sandy. Sandy is your lightest mashem. So when you pick it up and you feel like a lighter, but not the lightest, and it shakes a good bit, that's a Krabs. It could also be a Patrick, but he weighs a little bit more. So if you feel like maybe this weighs a little bit more, that's a Patrick. Sandy, if it's really light, it's a Sandy. That's the most I can give you. Now Mrs. Puff has the curves, so she's a little bit more bouncy than a Patrick, but she weighs about the exact same as a Patrick. So you got to be really careful about that. So if you see yellow Patrick weight 1 that bounces around a good bit, you're probably looking at a Mrs. Puff. Now a SpongeBob. These are the easiest to sight. I say you go into your Walmart, you buy one SpongeBob because they're easy to find. They don't bounce. They typically have no bounce to them when you shake. Or at least not much. Not a lot of bounce to them. Very little. They're one of the heaviest. Yeah, Mrs. Puff, pretty heavy with Patrick, too. Those two, probably some of the heaviest. Other than SpongeBob. SpongeBob's unshakable. So I recommend after you have your first SpongeBob, go in there and find all the SpongeBobs, put them to the side, and don't buy those anymore. Because you're just going to have repeats. I mean, you can find them easily. Just nix them out of there. Say, that's a SpongeBob, we're not going to buy it. So then, other than that, the only one left is Gary. Now, Gary is hard to pinpoint. I got Gary by chance. I got lucky. I said, screw it. Not abiding by the laws anymore. I'm buying this one. I think it might be a Gary, you know. Gary is round, so he bounces a lot. He's also like medium weight. Maybe the same as... maybe somewhere in between a Krabs and a Patrick. I don't know. But he's the coolest. He's one of the coolest. I mean, he's just really cool. But that's all the advice I can give as far as collecting mashems. If you guys want more content related to SpongeBob mashem collecting in the future, I recommend asking. Yep. Thanks, guys.